Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show CrimeTak. Hope you and your family are good. Today's story raises a poignant question. The question of, do we all have someone we're related to? Because there are many who have no one. Well, it's been more than 19 years of this story from UK, where every city's newspaper and police releases to tell us about that unclaimed body. People with no heirs, no relatives, mostly move to other cities for work to incur their expenses. They sleep wherever they can. They eat whatever they find. And when they die, hardly someone claims their bodies and comes forward for burial. But what if I'm telling you a tale where a person with family, friends, community, neighbors vanished? They've been missing for 3 years with no improvement. So, without wasting a minute, let's start the story. This is the story of England, UK. In the story of unclaimed body that haunt our city, meet Joyce Vincent, a woman whose story is as inspiring as it is heartbreaking. She was an English woman whose death went unnoticed for more than 2 years as her corpse lay undiscovered at her bedside in North London. Born in West London's Hammersmith, 1965. Her life was far from ordinary. Joyce was the youngest of 5 daughters. Her father, Lawrence, was a carpenter of African descent, and her mother, Lyris, was of Indian descent. Her mother died when Vincent was 11. After her mother's death, Joyce's father failed to provide the care his children needed. Her 4 older sisters took responsibility for her upbringing. She had a strained relationship with her emotionally distant father. Domestic violence ensued, and another woman entered their father's life. Joyce and her sisters were left to fend for themselves. Despite the hardships, Joyce's elder sisters stepped up. They took on the responsibility of raising their youngest sibling, ensuring she received an education. Joyce witnessed the collapse of her family, the loss of her mother, and the struggles of her sisters. Yet, she persevered. She excelled in her studies, a testament to her resilience and determination. Her journey, though filled with sorrow, is ultimately one of resilience and determination. She had a promising start. After college, she landed a job at a reputable accountancy firm. Her salary was good, and she was overcoming the shadows of her past. Joyce was reserved, not one to easily mingle with others. Yet, her friends saw her as a good person. Joyce's career trajectory was on the rise. From small jobs, she moved to a prestigious treasury company, Ernst. Her salary was good, and it seemed like she had no regrets in life. However, the ghosts of her childhood often haunted her. These memories were a constant reminder of her struggles. The year 2000 was a good time for Joyce, but in 2001, she made a surprising decision. She resigned from Ernst for unknown reasons and choosing to spend time with friends over work. Joyce Vincent's life was a mix of success and struggle, a journey marked by resilience and mystery. Her story serves as a reminder of the unseen battles people fight every day. Shortly afterwards, Vincent spent some time in a domestic abuse shelter in Haringey and worked as a cleaner in a budget hotel, a woman who found herself in a challenging living situation. During this period, she became estranged from her family. In February 2003, Vincent was moved into the bedside flat above Wood Green Shopping City. The flat was owned by the Metropolitan Housing Trust and was used to house victims of abuse. She rented a room known for its noisy, drug-addicted residents. It was cheap, and Joyce was short on cash. Her room was tucked away in a corner, a small sanctuary amidst the chaos. She thanked to a housing benefit scheme. Also, half of her rent was paid directly to the landlord, easing her financial burden. But in 2003, Joyce vanished. She never left her house, and her story remains a mystery. In the heart of London, life buzzes on, but some stories remain untold. One such tale is of Joyce, a woman unnoticed for years. Joyce lived alone, her room's light always on. The constant hum of her TV blended with the neighborhood's noise. Yet no one noticed her absence. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. Outside Joyce's door, papers piled up, but still, no one took notice. By January 2006, Joyce's housing benefits covered only 50% of her rent. For 3 years, this half payment continued, unnoticed by her landlord. Even her electricity bill was being paid. In a city full of life, Joyce's story is a stark reminder of those forgotten. She was struggling financially, owing around 2.25 lakhs in Indian currency. Her landlord, needing the money, asked her to find another place to live. On January 25, 2006, Housing Society staff, armed with a master key, entered Joyce's room. What they found was shocking. As the door swung open, they were met with a sight that made their feet shiver. A sofa set was positioned directly in front of the door. On the sofa, there sat what appeared to be a statue. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, but something about it was deeply unsettling. Joyce Carol Vincent's story is a stark reminder of the struggles many face, often behind closed doors. A chilling discovery was made in a foreign housing society. A strange, suffocating atmosphere led to a shocking revelation. Upon closer inspection, what seemed like a toy turned out to be a human skull. It was positioned on the sofa, as if a person was sitting. The police were called to the scene. The skeletal remains were still on the sofa, a haunting sight. Upon further investigation, the room was found to be dimly lit. The TV was on, tuned to BBC One, adding an eerie ambience to the tragic scene. The identity of the person remains unknown, a mystery wrapped in a life of struggle and tragedy. In a seemingly ordinary room, a mystery unfolds. The TV is on, the lights are glowing, but Joyce is missing from her sofa. Among the everyday items, gift cards, and shopping bags, a chilling discovery is made. An ambulance is called, and a body is taken to the hospital. The identity is unknown until medical documents finally reveal a name. Dental prescriptions lead to a shocking revelation. The remains belong to Joyce Vincent. Through forensic analysis, a timeline emerges. The skeleton, it's determined, has been lifeless for about 3 years. Joyce Vincent, they conclude, died in December 2003. Her body, however, is found only in 2006. The cause of death remains a mystery. It could be an asthma attack, or perhaps something more sinister. She had a peptic ulcer at the time of her deaths, so some have suggested an asthma attack or complications surrounding her recent peptic ulcer as a possible cause of death. Her remains were described as mostly skeletal according to the pathologist, and she was lying on her back next to a shopping bag, surrounded by Christmas presents she had wrapped but never delivered. It is not known to whom the presents were addressed. The refrigerator in her bedside contained food with 2003 expiry date labels. Despite the best efforts, the truth remains elusive. Joyce's journey ends in mystery, leaving more questions than answered. Joyce was a woman who lived alone, and after December 2003, no one had any contact with her. She had quit her job and stopped responding to letters. Years later, Joyce's sisters began to search for her. They discovered a shocking truth. Joyce had been sitting on her sofa in her apartment for 3 years, unnoticed. Despite the TV continuously playing and the lights always on, no one questioned her absence. The electricity bills were paid through a scheme, giving no cause for concern. For 3 years, Joyce's neighbors never noticed her absence. They never questioned whether she had moved or why she hadn't been seen. A tragic tale of a woman forgotten by her community. In a bustling city, a woman named Joyce Vincent vanished from sight. For 3 years, the world didn't notice her absence. Shockingly, Joyce was found 3 years later, lifeless on her sofa. Her body had become like a statue, undisturbed and unnoticed. Neighbors had assumed the flat was unoccupied, and the odor of decomposing body tissue was attributed to nearby waste bin. The flat's windows did not allow direct sight to the inside. It was a noisy building, which may explain why no one questioned the constant noise from the television, which remained turned on until she was discovered. Half of her rent was being automatically paid to Metropolitan Housing Trust by benefits agencies, leading officials to believe that she was still alive. With over 2 years' worth of unpaid rent, totaling $2,400, that had accrued, housing officials decided to repossess the property. Her corpse was discovered on 25 January 2006, when bailiffs had forced entry into the flat. The television and heating was still running due to debt forgiveness and her bills being continually paid through automatic debit. Metropolitan Housing Trust said that no concerns were raised by neighbors or visitors at any time during the 2 years between her death and discovery of the body. When this news hit the British and London newspapers, it sparked a wave of questions about our society. What kind of world are we living in, where a person can disappear without anyone noticing? In our neighborhoods, what don't we know? A body lay in a room for 3 years, and no one thought to check. As neighbors, as relatives, as humans, is it not our responsibility to care for one another? Many people live alone unnoticed. We've become so engrossed in our own lives, our own progress, that we've forgotten the basics of human connection. This tragic story raises questions about our societal responsibility. A forgotten story resurfaces, reminding us of the fleeting nature of news. We chase the new, often forgetting the old. A woman was found in her room, unnoticed for 3 years. A mystery that baffled doctors and sparked a police investigation. This story inspired a documentary, Dream of a Life, written and directed by Carol Morley, with Zawa Ashton playing Vincent, was released in 2011. A poignant reminder of our transient existence. The police delved into the mystery and about what could be behind it. The investigation revealed a timeline. She resigned in 2001, last seen in 2003. A 2-year gap that deepens the mystery. For 2 years, she had a boyfriend, a man she loved, yet no one knew his full identity. Her friends saw them together often, but his picture, full name, and true identity remained unknown. This anonymity sparked police suspicion. Despite their best efforts, the police couldn't uncover his real name or where he lived. His identity remained as elusive as the truth behind Joyce's death. Apart from this, her sisters had hired a private detective to look for her and contacted the Salvation Army, but these attempts proved unsuccessful. The detective found the house where Vincent was living, and the family wrote letters to her, receiving no response as she was already dead by this time. As a result, the family concluded she had deliberately broken ties with them. The Glasgow Herald, Scottish broadsheet newspaper, reported, her friends noted her as someone who fled at signs of trouble, who walked out of jobs if she clashed with a colleague, and who moved from one flat to the next all over London. She didn't answer the phone to her sister, and didn't appear to have her own circle of friends, instead relying on the company of relative strangers who came with the package of a new boyfriend, a colleague or flatmate. Now it's been almost 19 years, and we're still asking, what was the real reason for Joyce's death? Was it natural, an asthma attack, or something else? What was her final situation? Was she sitting on the sofa? Was she found dead in this position? The mystery of Joyce Vincent's death continues to baffle us. Joyce Carl Vincent's case remains an unsolved mystery that haunts London. Despite extensive coverage, answers elude us. This story underscores our indifference to what happens around us. It's a chilling reminder of the consequences of our apathy. Thank you and stay tuned.